The alien armada arrived at the edge of Earth's solar system exactly 72 hours after Captain Morrison's warning. 10,000 warships moved through space like a dark cloud that blocked out the stars. Never before in galactic history had so many different species worked together for war. High Chancellor Thexalar stood on the bridge of his flagship, the massive vessel called Eternal Judgment. The ship was 3 miles long and carried enough weapons to destroy a small moon. Around him, officers from dozens of alien species worked at their stations, all confident that today would end the human problem forever. Open a communication channel. To the human planet, Thexalar commanded. His black eyes gleamed with satisfaction. He had waited 3 years for this moment. On Earth, Admiral Sullivan received the alien transmission from her hidden base in the asteroid belt. She looked tired, but her voice was steady when she responded to the Chancellor's call. "This is Admiral Kate Sullivan, speaking for the government of Earth and all human colonies," she said. "State your business." Thexalar's long face appeared on Sullivan's screen. Behind him, she could see the enormous bridge of his flagship filled with alien officers preparing for battle. "Admiral Sullivan, I am High Chancellor Thexalar of the Galactic Council. Your 72 hours have ended. I demand the immediate and unconditional surrender of your species. You will lower your shields and prepare to be transported to the prison worlds we have selected for you." Sullivan looked directly into the camera. Her gray hair was pulled back tightly, and her uniform was clean and pressed despite living in hiding for months. She had led Earth's military through the worst war in human history, and she would not give up now. "Chancellor, I have only one word for you," Sullivan said calmly. "No." The communication ended. Across the alien fleet, commanders prepared their weapons and began moving toward Earth. They expected the small human fleet to either run away or surrender immediately. Instead, Captain Morrison led Earth's remaining ships directly toward the massive alien armada. Only 200 human vessels charged straight at 10,000 enemy ships. To the aliens, it looked like suicide. "All ships, this is Captain Morrison," Jake said over the communication system. "Today we fight not just for our lives, but for the right of humanity to exist freely in this galaxy. Show these aliens what humans are made of." The ESS Defiance accelerated toward the enemy fleet, followed by every remaining Earth warship. The human vessels were outnumbered 50-1, but they did not hesitate or slow down. On the alien flagship, Chancellor Thexalar watched the human charge with confusion. "What are they doing? Do they really think 200 ships can defeat our entire armada?" Prime Crystal Zarthek of the Vortani spoke from his crystal chair. "The humans must be insane. This is not strategy. This is madness." The two fleets met in the space between Earth and Mars. Immediately, the aliens opened fire with thousands of energy weapons. The vacuum of space lit up with laser beams and plasma bolts. Several human ships exploded in the first few seconds of the battle. But then, something went wrong with the alien fleet. On ships throughout their armada, crew members suddenly stopped what they were doing. Their thoughts became confused and scattered. Alien officers stared at their instruments without understanding what they were seeing. Dr. Carter had activated the quantum consciousness disruptor from his laboratory on New Geneva Station. The invisible energy field spread out from Earth at the speed of light, reaching every alien mind in the solar system within minutes. "Computer, confirm disruptor effectiveness," Carter said, watching his instruments carefully. "Quantum field is operating at maximum efficiency, Dr. Carter. Alien neural patterns are showing severe disruption across 47 different species. Estimated time until complete breakdown of command structure is 12 minutes. Carter nodded grimly. The weapon was working exactly as he had designed it. Alien crews throughout the attacking fleet were losing the ability to think clearly. They could not coordinate their attacks or follow complex orders. On the Eternal Judgment, Chancellor Thexalar felt a strange fog settling over his mind. His thoughts moved slowly, and he kept forgetting what he was supposed to be doing. Around him, his officers were having the same problems. "What is happening to us?" Thexalar asked, but even forming the words was difficult. Admiral Fluxara of the Kalari tried to respond from his tank, but his tentacles moved randomly, and his bioluminescent patterns flickered without meaning. Across the alien fleet, the same thing was happening to every crew member. Ships began firing at random targets, including their own allies. Without clear thought, the alien commanders could not tell friend from enemy. The carefully organized attack turned into chaos as thousands of vessels shot at anything that moved. Captain Holmes watched the battle from his stealth ship near the Zephyrian homeworld. He had been waiting for this moment for 2 years. His orders were clear. If the aliens attacked Earth, he was to activate the stellar destabilizer. "Communications. Send the activation signal to all stealth ships," Holmes commanded. "Signal sent, Captain. All ships confirm receipt and are beginning stellar destabilization procedures." Across the galaxy, 12 human stealth ships revealed themselves near the most important alien worlds. Each ship activated its quantum device, sending invisible energy beams directly into the cores of nearby stars. The effects were immediate and terrifying. Stars that had burned steadily for billions of years began to flicker and pulse. Their nuclear reactions became unstable as quantum fields interfered with the fusion process. Within hours, these stars would either collapse or explode, destroying everything in their solar systems. On the Vortani crystal world, Prime Zarthek's advisors detected the stellar instability in their home star. The crystal beings, who lived for thousands of years, watched in horror as their ancient sun began to die. Lieutenant Sam Parker, still hidden in the alien communication networks, broadcast the truth to every world in the galaxy. Her message was simple but devastating. Humanity had the power to destroy any star system they chose. Every major alien world was now under immediate threat of annihilation. "Attention all species of the Galactic Council," Sam's voice said through every communication device in alien space. "This is Lieutenant Sam Parker of the Earth Space Service. Your leaders believed we were weak and helpless. They were wrong." The message continued as panic spread through alien civilizations. "Every star in Council space now has a human device pointed at its core. If you destroy Earth, we will trigger supernovas that will wipe out your entire civilization. Your move. On." Harmony's Edge Station, the Council members who were not part of the attacking fleet received Sam's broadcast with growing terror. The young species they had tried to crush was threatening to destroy the entire galaxy. Professor Davis activated Project Omega from her laboratory deep in Earth's ocean. The massive device drew power directly from the sun through Maya Johnson's quantum tunnel. Energy readings went beyond anything ever recorded as the weapon charged up. "Computer, target selection confirmed?" Davis asked. "Confirmed, Professor. Omega device is locked onto the alien flagship Eternal Judgment. Firing solution is optimal." Davis hesitated for just a moment. Once she pressed the activation button, there would be no going back. The galaxy would learn that humans possessed weapons beyond their imagination. She pressed the button. A beam of pure energy, invisible to normal sensors, reached across space and struck the Eternal Judgment. The alien flagship, 3 miles of the most advanced technology in the galaxy, simply ceased to exist. One moment it was there, the next moment there was only empty space. Chancellor Thexalar never knew what hit him. His mighty ship and everyone aboard vanished instantly, erased from existence by forces that no alien scientist could understand or defend against. The battle was over. The alien fleet, leaderless and confused, began to retreat in complete disorder. Earth had won, but the cost of victory would change everything. Professor Claire Davis worked alone in the deepest part of Earth's ocean. Her laboratory was built inside the Mariana Trench, 7 miles below the surface of the Pacific Ocean. The pressure outside would crush a normal human instantly, but her facility was protected by the strongest materials that Earth could make. Claire was 55 years old, with silver hair that she always kept tied back while working. She had been one of Earth's top scientists before the war started. Now she spent her days working on something so dangerous that even thinking about it made her hands shake. The project was called Omega, and it was humanity's most carefully guarded secret. Only 12 people in the entire solar system knew it existed. Even Admiral Sullivan had only been told part of the truth about what Claire was building in her underwater laboratory. Claire looked at the massive device that filled most of her laboratory. It looked like a giant metal sphere with thousands of cables and pipes connected to it. Strange lights flickered inside the sphere, and the air around it seemed to bend and twist in impossible ways. "Computer, run diagnostic test number 47, Claire said to her artificial intelligence assistant. "Running diagnostic now, Professor Davis," the computer replied in a calm voice. "All systems operating within normal parameters. Omega device is ready for activation on your command." Claire nodded but felt no happiness. Omega was ready, but using it would change everything. Once this weapon was fired, there would be no going back. The galaxy would never be the same again. High, above the ocean, Captain Rick Holmes commanded his ship from the bridge of the ESS Ghost. His vessel was completely invisible to every form of detection that the aliens possessed. The Ghost used new technology that bent light and energy around the ship, making it disappear from sight. Rick was a quiet man with dark hair and serious eyes. He had been chosen to command the Ghost because he could stay calm under pressure and make difficult decisions without hesitation. His ship was one of 12 stealth vessels that had been secretly positioned throughout the galaxy over the past 2 years. "Navigation, confirm our position," Rick ordered his crew. "We are holding position 3 light years from the Zephyrian home system, Captain," replied Lieutenant Tony Martinez, his navigation officer. "The aliens have no idea we are here." Rick smiled grimly. His ship carried something that could destroy an entire star system if he received the right orders. The other 11 stealth ships were positioned near other important alien worlds, all waiting for the same signal. The technology that made the Ghost invisible also powered its main weapon. Dr. Carter had discovered that by manipulating quantum energy fields, humans could affect the nuclear reactions inside stars themselves. Each stealth ship carried a device that could make a star become unstable and eventually explode. Back on Earth, engineer Maya Johnson worked in her laboratory trying to solve the biggest problem with Project Omega. The weapon needed enormous amounts of power to work properly. Maya had spent 2 years trying to figure out how to provide enough energy. Maya was 38 years old and considered one of the smartest people on Earth. She had worked on power systems for spaceships before the war started. Now she was trying to harness the power of the sun itself. "I think I have it," Maya said to her assistant, Dr. Kevin Ross. "If we can create a quantum tunnel directly to the sun's core, we can draw unlimited energy from the fusion reactions." Kevin looked worried. "Maya, that sounds incredibly dangerous. What if we cannot control the energy flow?" "Then we all die," Maya replied simply. "But if we do nothing, the aliens will kill us anyway. At least this way we have a chance." Maya activated her experimental power system. Immediately, the laboratory filled with bright golden light. Energy readings on her instruments went far beyond anything that had ever been recorded on Earth. The quantum tunnel was working, drawing power directly from the sun's nuclear furnace. Admiral Sullivan watched Maya's test from her hidden command center in the asteroid belt. The readings she was seeing made her feel both hopeful and terrified. Humanity now had access to the power of a star, but using it might destroy them all. "Admiral, we are receiving updates from our stealth ships," reported Colonel Steve Williams, from his position at the communication station. Steve had been helping coordinate the secret mission for 2 years. His own family had been killed when the aliens bombed New York, and he wanted revenge. "What is their status?" Sullivan asked. "All 12 ships are in position near major alien worlds. Captain Holmes reports that the Zephyrian home system has no idea they are being watched. The same goes for the Vortani crystal worlds and the Kalari ocean planets." Sullivan nodded. "Humanity's plan was almost ready. If the aliens attacked Earth, they would discover that humans had been preparing a surprise that would destroy their entire civilization." Dr. Carter finished his final calculations in his laboratory on New Geneva Station. He had been working for 60 hours straight, surviving on coffee and determination. His discovery about quantum consciousness was the missing piece of humanity's defense plan. "Computer, confirm the targeting data for the consciousness disruptor," Carter said tiredly. "Data confirmed, Dr. Carter. The quantum field generator can affect the neural networks of all known alien species simultaneously. Range is limited to approximately 1 light-year from the transmission point." Carter rubbed his eyes. "The consciousness disruptor could confuse and disorient alien minds across an entire star system. When combined with Project Omega and the stealth ships, humanity would have 3 different ways to strike back at their enemies." Captain Emma Lewis commanded the submarine research vessel Nautilus Prime from her position deep in Earth's Atlantic Ocean. Her ship had been converted into a mobile command center that could coordinate all of humanity's secret weapons while staying hidden underwater. Emma was 42 years old and had spent most of her career exploring Earth's oceans. She understood better than most how to stay hidden in the deep waters where alien sensors could not reach. Her ship carried communication equipment that could talk to the stealth vessels scattered across the galaxy. "Captain Lewis, we are receiving a priority message from Admiral Sullivan," reported Chief Petty Officer Nancy Wright from the communications station. "Put it through, Chief," Emma replied. Sullivan's face appeared on the main screen. She looked tired but determined. "Emma, prepare to coordinate Phase 3 of the defensive plan. The alien fleet will arrive at Earth in 36 hours. All of our hidden assets need to be ready to activate at the same time." "Understood, Admiral. All stealth ships are standing by, and Dr. Carter's consciousness disruptor is ready for deployment. Professor Davis reports that Project Omega can be activated on 15 minutes' notice." Sullivan paused for a moment, thinking about what they were about to do. "Emma, when this is over, the galaxy will either be free of alien oppression or it will be a field of dead stars. There is no middle ground." "I understand, ma'am. Humanity has never backed down from a fight, and we are not going to start now." The final preparations were complete. Humanity had spent 3 years being pushed back and beaten by superior alien forces, but humans had used that time to prepare weapons that the galaxy had never seen before. Soon, the aliens would learn that cornering humans was the most dangerous mistake they could make. High Chancellor Thek received the human message while sitting in his private chamber aboard the massive space station called Harmony's Edge. The blue-skinned alien was over 800 years old and had seen many young species try to threaten the Galactic Council before. He made a sound that was close to laughter among his people. Thek was tall and thin, with long arms and fingers that moved like spider legs. His skin was the color of deep ocean water, and his eyes were completely black. He wore flowing robes that showed his high rank in the council. Around his neck hung the Star of Authority, a crystal that had been given to council leaders for thousands of years. The Chancellor called his aide, a smaller alien named Vexara, into the room. Vexara was from the same species, but much younger, only 200 years old. He moved quickly when his master called. "Did you hear the human transmission?" Vexara asked. "Yes, High Chancellor." "The humans seem to think they can frighten us," Vexara replied. His voice showed that he thought the idea was foolish. "Arrange an emergency meeting of the full council. I want every species leader to hear this human nonsense. It will be good entertainment before we finish this war, Thexalar said. Within 2 hours, representatives from 47 different alien species had gathered in the Great Council Chamber. The room was enormous, with seats arranged in circles that rose up like a mountain. Each species had their own section, with special air and gravity controls to keep them comfortable. The Vortani delegation sat in crystal chairs that matched their crystal bodies. They were tall beings made of living rock that sparkled in the light. Their leader, Prime Crystal Zarthek, had been alive for over 1,000 years. He thought humans were nothing more than angry children. The Kelari representatives floated. In tanks of green liquid, they looked like giant jellyfish with glowing tentacles. Their species had never lost a war in their entire history. They could not understand how humans thought they could win against such impossible odds. Near the center of the chamber sat Commander Lisa Brooks, the human prisoner. She was chained to a metal chair, still wearing her torn Earth military uniform. The aliens had captured her 6 months ago during the Battle of Proxima. They kept her alive to use as an example of human aggression. Lisa was 32 years old with short red hair and green eyes. Before the war, she had been a pilot who carried supplies between Earth's colonies. When the fighting started, she volunteered to fly military missions. She had shot down 12 alien fighters before her ship was finally damaged, and she was captured. Tsukkor, aliens wanted to show the galaxy that humans were violent and dangerous. They made videos of Lisa refusing to cooperate with their questions. They showed how she tried to escape from her prison cell 3 different times. To the Council, this proved that humans could not be trusted to live freely, but Lisa was not afraid of the aliens, even though she was their prisoner. She sat straight in her chair and looked directly at Chancellor Thexalar when he began to speak. "Fellow members of the Council," Thexalar said, his voice echoing through the great chamber. "We have received an amusing message from the human species. They believe they can threaten us into leaving their small corner of the galaxy alone." Many of the aliens made sounds that were like laughter in their different languages. The idea that humans could threaten the mighty Galactic Council seemed impossible to them. "The humans have given us 72 hours to withdraw our forces," Thexalar continued. "They say that if we do not obey their demands, we will face terrible consequences." More laughter filled the chamber. The Kalari leader, a huge jellyfish called Admiral Fluxara, spoke up from his tank. "What could these young mammals possibly do to threaten us? We have 10,000 ships ready to attack their home planet." Prime Crystal Zarthek of the Vortani made a grinding sound that was his species' way of showing agreement. "The humans have been pushed back to their single star system. They have perhaps 200 ships left. This is not a threat. This is the desperate cry of a defeated enemy." Chancellor Thexalar nodded his long head. "Exactly. But I think we should show the galaxy what happens when a species refuses to accept Council authority. We will make an example of Earth that will be remembered for 1,000 years." While the Council meeting continued, far across the galaxy, General Ryan Mitchell was leading his small group of human fighters in an attack on an alien supply depot. Ryan had been fighting behind enemy lines for 2 years, using tactics that the aliens had never seen before. Ryan was 40 years old, with gray hair and scars on his face from many battles. Before the war, he had been a teacher at Earth's military academy. He understood that humans could not win by fighting the aliens in traditional space battles. Instead, he used surprise attacks and hit-and-run missions to cause as much damage as possible. His team included only 12 other humans, but they had destroyed 17 alien bases in the past 6 months. The aliens could not understand how such a small group could cause so much trouble. Their own military had not changed its methods in hundreds of years. Ryan's ship, a small vessel called the Swift Arrow, appeared suddenly near the alien depot. His team moved quickly, placing bombs on the fuel storage tanks before the surprised aliens could react. Within minutes, the entire depot was destroyed, and the swift arrow had disappeared back into deep space. "Another successful mission," said Sergeant Carol Hayes, Ryan's second in command. She was a tough woman who had grown up on a mining colony. The war had made her even tougher. "Good work, everyone," Ryan said to his team. "But remember, we are not trying to win this war with these attacks. We are buying time for Earth to prepare its real surprise." Back on Harmony's edge, the council meeting was ending. Chancellor Thexaler had convinced all 47 species to contribute ships to the largest military force in galactic history. Over 10,000 warships would attack Earth in exactly 72 hours. Commander Lisa Brooks listened to their plans with growing anger. She wanted to warn Earth somehow, but she was trapped and helpless. She could only hope that Admiral Sullivan and Captain Morrison had a real plan to defend their home planet. "The human threat ends now," Chancellor Thexalar announced to the assembled council. "When we are finished with Earth, no other young species will ever dare to challenge our authority again." The aliens cheered and made their various sounds of approval. They were confident that their overwhelming numbers would crush the humans easily. They had no idea that their communications were being secretly monitored by a human they thought was dead. Lieutenant Sam Parker, the computer expert from Captain Morrison's ship, had managed to break into the Council's most secure networks. The aliens believed she had been killed when her ship was destroyed near Mars, but she had actually escaped in a small pod and been hiding in the asteroid belt for months. Sam had been sending information about alien movements and plans back to Earth's remaining forces. She knew about the huge fleet that was being assembled. She also knew something else that made her smile as she watched the council meeting through their own cameras. The aliens had no idea what humans were really capable of when they were desperate enough to risk everything. Captain Jake Morrison walked slowly across the metal floor of his ship's bridge. His boots made soft clicking sounds with each step. The ESS Defiance was the last big warship that Earth had left. All the others were gone, destroyed in the long war that had been going on for 3 terrible years. Jake stopped in front of the main viewing screen. Through the thick glass, he could see the empty darkness of space. Somewhere out there, millions of alien ships were getting ready to attack. His home planet, Earth, was alone now, with no friends left in the galaxy. The bridge was quiet except for the soft humming of machines. Jake's crew worked at their stations, checking weapons and shields. They all knew this might be their last day alive. The aliens had been very clear about what they wanted to do to humanity. Admiral Kate Sullivan appeared on the communication screen in front of Jake. Her face looked tired and old, even though she was only 45 years old. The war had been hard on everyone, but especially on her. She had to watch most of Earth's space fleet get blown up piece by piece. "Jake, are you ready to send the message?" Kate asked. Her voice was calm, but Jake could hear the sadness hiding underneath. "Yes, Admiral. The communication array is powered up and ready. Every alien ship in the galaxy will hear what we have to say," Jake replied. Kate had been hiding in the asteroid belt for 6 months now. Her secret base was built inside a big rock that looked like all the other rocks floating in space. The aliens had no idea she was there, which was exactly what she wanted. "Good. Dr. Carter is standing by with the technical data. If the aliens want to know how serious we are, he can show them," Kate said. Dr. Alex Carter was working in his laboratory on the space station called New Geneva. The station was hidden behind Earth's moon, where the aliens could not see it easily. Alex had discovered something 3 years ago that changed everything. He had found a way to make weapons that could go through any kind of protection the aliens had. Alex was a quiet man who liked to work alone. He had thick glasses and messy, brown hair. Before the war started, he had been trying to find new ways to travel between the stars. Instead, he had accidentally created the most dangerous weapons in the galaxy. The aliens were scared of what Alex had made. They called it devil technology and said it was too dangerous to exist. They demanded that all humans be moved to special prison planets where they could be watched all the time. The Galactic Council was made up of 47 different alien species. They had been running the galaxy for thousands of years. The Council thought they knew everything about war and peace. They had never met humans before. The leader of the council was a tall blue alien called High Chancellor Thexalar. He was very old and very proud. He thought humans were just another young species that needed to be taught how to behave. Jake looked at his watch. In exactly 5 minutes, he would send humanity's final message to the galaxy. After that, there would be no more talking. The aliens would either leave Earth alone or something terrible would happen. "Captain Morrison, all systems are ready," said Lieutenant Sam Parker from her station. Sam was only 23 years old, but she was the best computer expert Jake had ever seen. She could break into any alien computer system and steal their secrets. "Thank you, Sam. Open the channel to the entire galaxy," Jake ordered. Sam's fingers moved quickly over her keyboard. Lights flashed on her screen as the communication system connected to every planet, every ship, and every space station in the galaxy. Billions of aliens would hear what Jake was about to say. Jake walked to the center of the bridge. He looked directly into the camera that would broadcast his face across the stars. He thought about his wife and children who were safe in an underground bunker on Earth. He thought about all the human soldiers who had died fighting the aliens. He thought about the cities on Earth that had been bombed from space. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the Earth Space Service speaking for all of humanity," he began. His voice was strong and clear. 3 years ago, your Galactic Council declared war on our species. You said we were too dangerous to be allowed freedom. You said we needed to be controlled." Jake paused for a moment. On screens throughout the galaxy, aliens stopped what they were doing to listen. "We tried to talk to you. We tried to find peace. We offered to share our technology and knowledge. But you wanted to make us slaves. You wanted to decide where we could live and how we could live." The bridge of the Defiance was completely silent. Every person there knew that history was being made. You destroyed our colonies. You killed our people. You thought that because you had more ships and more soldiers, you would win easily. You were wrong. Jake's voice got harder and colder. "We have shown you that humans do not give up. We have shown you that we can fight back even when everything seems hopeless, but you still refuse to leave us alone." Admiral Kate Sullivan watched from her hidden base. She knew that what Jake was about to say would change everything. This is Earth's final warning to the galaxy. You have 72 hours to remove all of your military forces from our solar system. You have 72 hours to cancel your plans to invade our home planet. You have 72 hours to leave us in peace. Jake stepped closer to the camera. His eyes were like ice. "If you do not do this, if you continue your attack on humanity, you will face consequences that you cannot imagine. We have been preparing for this moment. We have been building something that will show you exactly how dangerous humans can be when they have nothing left to lose." The communication array sent Jake's words to every corner of the galaxy in seconds. On the bridge of the Defiance, red warning lights began to flash. Alien ships were moving toward Earth. "We are done asking nicely. We are done trying to make you understand. This is your last chance to walk away. The next move you make will determine whether this galaxy continues to exist or whether everything ends in fire." Jake looked directly into the camera one final time. "Choose wisely. You will not get another warning." The transmission ended. Across the galaxy, billions of aliens sat in shocked silence. The young species that they had tried to crush had just threatened to destroy everything. Jake Morrison turned away from the camera and looked out at the stars. In 72 hours, the galaxy would learn what humans were really capable of when pushed too far. The pride of Krex hung in space like a metal mountain, its massive hull bristling with enough weapons to destroy entire fleets. War leader Thokran had called for his ultimate weapon, confident that no single ship could stand against the pinnacle of Krek's military engineering. Captain Eric Thompson studied the enemy dreadnought on his view screen. The ship was beautiful in its terrible way, all sharp angles and deadly purpose. It was 3 times larger than the UES Defiance and had never lost a battle. "Sir, the dreadnought is powering up its main weapon," reported Weapons Officer Carlos Rivera. "Energy readings are off the charts." "What kind of weapon?" Eric asked. "Planet killer, sir. That beam can crack a world in half." Eric looked around his bridge at the faces of his crew. 25 humans in a ship built from alien garbage, facing the most powerful warship in the Krek's empire. The odds were impossible, but Eric had learned not to trust odds when it came to human engineering. "All hands, prepare for incoming fire," Eric announced over the ship's communication system. "Nancy, make sure our shields are ready." Communications. Officer Nancy Kim checked her displays. "Adaptive shielding at full power, sir. All systems green." The Pride of Krex fired its main weapon. The coherent energy beam that lanced across space was pure destruction given form. It contained enough power to vaporize a moon, focused into a stream of annihilation that had never failed to destroy its target. The beam struck the UES Defiance dead center and vanished. On the Pride of Krex's bridge, War Leader Thokran stared at his displays in disbelief. "Where did the beam go?" "Unknown, sir," his weapons officer replied, voice shaking. "Sensors show the weapon fired normally, but there's no impact signature on the human ship." "Fire again." The second planet killer beam met the same fate as the first, absorbed completely by the Defiance's adaptive shielding. The third beam disappeared as well. With each attack, the human ship's shields grew brighter and more powerful. Eric smiled as he watched his shield readings climb higher. "Nancy, are we ready to return their gift?" "Yes, sir. The shields have stored enough energy for a full power response." "Then let's give them back their own weapon." "Fire." The UES Defiance redirected the absorbed energy of 3 planet-killer beams back at the Pride of Krex. The returned attack struck the dreadnought's supposedly impenetrable shields using the exact same power that the Krex ship had fired at the humans. The Pride of Krex's shields, designed to stop any weapon except their own planet killer, had no defense against their own ultimate weapon turned against them. The redirected beam punched through the dreadnought's defenses like they were made of paper. The massive ship shuddered as the beam tore through its hull, cutting deep into the heart of the vessel. Secondary explosions rippled along its length. As critical systems failed. "Impossible," War Leader Thokran whispered. "Our own weapon cannot penetrate our shields." "Sir, the human ship somehow turned our attack back on us," his science officer reported. "They used our own power against our own defenses." Thokran felt the deck shake beneath his feet as more systems failed. The Pride of Krex, the Invincible, flagship of the Krex Empire, was being destroyed by its own ultimate weapon. "All remaining ships, retreat," Thokran ordered. "Full withdrawal." "But sir, the invasion is over," Thokran said bitterly. "We cannot fight an enemy that turns our own weapons against us." The surviving Krex vessels fled the Terralan system, leaving behind the wreckage of what had been the Empire's most powerful fleet. The Pride of Krex drifted powerless in space. Its mighty hull cracked open like an egg. On the UES Defiance, Eric opened a communication channel to the Terralan defenders. "Admiral Tiershan, this is Captain Thompson. The Krex fleet has been defeated. Your homeworld is safe." Admiral Tiershan's voice came through filled with amazement. "Captain Thompson, what we have witnessed today will be remembered for 1,000 years. How did you accomplish such a thing?" "Teamwork," Eric replied simply, "and some very clever engineers." News of the battle spread across the galaxy faster than anyone thought possible. Within hours, every major civilization knew that a single human ship had defeated an entire Krex battle fleet and destroyed the legendary Pride of Krex. On Orbital Platform 7, Dr. Amy Rodriguez watched the news reports with satisfaction. High Trader Vexthon of the Zephyrians was making an emergency call to Commander Jake Sullivan, and his usual condescending tone was completely gone. "Commander Sullivan," Vexthon said, his musical voice tight with barely controlled fear. "We must discuss the technology your species has developed." "What technology?" Jake replied innocently. "We're just studying the educational materials you gave us." "Do not play games with me," Vexthon said. "You have built a warship using our power cores that outperforms anything in the Zephyrian fleet. How is this possible?" Amy smiled as she watched Jake's diplomatic performance. "We've always been good at taking things apart and putting them back together," Jake said. "Perhaps we learned more from your generous gift than you expected." The political changes came swiftly. The Krex Empire, faced with the reality that their greatest weapon had been turned against them, offered immediate peace negotiations with the Terralan Republic. Other aggressive civilizations suddenly became much more interested in diplomatic solutions to their territorial disputes. Dr. Amy Rodriguez found herself the most famous scientist in the galaxy. Requests for meetings came from every major civilization, all wanting to understand how humans had achieved the impossible. The woman who had started with alien garbage was now being offered positions in the most prestigious research institutions in known space. But Amy had no interest in leaving Earth. She had work to do in her laboratory, now officially recognized. As the Advanced Hybrid Technology Division, Amy studied her latest acquisitions. The gifts arriving from alien civilizations were very different from the Zephyrian scrap. These came with respect, with pleas for cooperation, with offers of partnership. Tony Martinez and his team were already at work on humanity's next project, a space station that would serve as Earth's primary shipyard. The design incorporated the wreckage of the Pride of Krex, enhanced with technologies from a dozen different species, all combined according to principles that only humans seem to understand. Dr. Helen Parker had been promoted to head of Galactic Defense and was working with Captain Eric Thompson to train new crews for the additional ships that Earth would soon build. The success of the UES Defiance had proven that human hybrid technology was not a fluke, but a repeatable advantage. Kevin Brooks, the young genius who had started it all by connecting incompatible alien systems, was now leading his own research team. His latest project involved combining Terralan biotechnology with Krex temporal mechanics and human artificial intelligence. Commander Jake Sullivan, promoted to Admiral of Earth's first interstellar fleet, stood in his new office watching construction begin on 3 more ships of the Defiance class. Each would be unique, incorporating new discoveries and improvements on Amy's original hybrid designs. "Any regrets?" Amy asked, joining Jake at the window. "About what?" "About changing everything? 6 months ago, humanity was barely tolerated. In the consortium. Now we're one of the major powers." Jake considered the question. "The galaxy needed to learn that strength doesn't always come from having the best technology. Sometimes it comes from being smart enough to use what you have." Amy nodded, thinking about the long journey from the day the Zephyrians had dumped their garbage on humanity. "The aliens gave us scrap because they thought we were too primitive to do anything dangerous with it. And we proved them right," Jake said with a smile. "We didn't do anything dangerous with it. We did something impossible with it." Outside the window, work continued on humanity's growing fleet. Ships that looked crude and primitive to alien eyes but contained technology that operated beyond the limits of known physics. Each vessel was a testament to the human ability to see possibilities where others saw only problems. In the deepest workshops of the orbital station, Amy's newest team was already at work on their most ambitious project yet. Using fragments of crystal technology from the mysterious Helix Nebula, combined with quantum matrices from 6 different civilizations, they were building something that would make the UES Defiance look simple by comparison. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Never underestimate a species that could turn garbage into the most advanced technology in known space. Humanity had earned its place among the stars not through conquest or wealth, but through the oldest human tradition of all. They had taken whatever materials were available and built something that worked better than anyone thought possible. And, in the depths of space, wherever alien civilizations looked at their own discarded technology, they now wondered what humans might build with it. The age of human engineering had truly begun.